Great Reset. If you still don't know what that is, let me explain. So throughout history, this earth has been through many resets, wiping out many civilizations. And what that means is civilizations will reach a certain level of advancement and have to start again. This can be happening through many different reasons. It can be man-made or it can be natural. When it's natural, it could come from tsunamis, tornadoes, earthquakes, pole shifts, ice age, even the heat from the sun. But sometimes it's man-made. There have been wars on this earth and weapons have been used like you wouldn't even believe. I'm telling you, you think nuclear weapons is new. Nuclear weapons ain't new, brother. Anything you think about doing, it's already been done. There ain't nothing new under the sun. So, the reset I want to talk about, because as I said, there's been many. That's the reason why you see all these ruins all over the world, and you see so many buried structures, buried cities. But the reset I want to talk about is the last reset. This reset only happened in the 17 to 1800s, not that long ago. And if you want to find evidence of this, it's hidden in plain sight. But you could also look at old newspaper articles around that time, and they will tell you exactly what was going on. But let me tell you something. So, the rulers of this world now, they wasn't always in control. You've heard of the Tartarian Empire. You've heard of the Moors. They used to be the ruling power of this world. But they fell. They got wiped out. There was a war, more like a genocide. You see, the rulers of this world, they're working with extraterrestrials, fallen angels, reptilians. They're working with other beings. And these other beings taught them different technology and gave them weapons that you would never believe. And this is how the Tartarian Empire fell. They was wiped out. Some people ask, where are the descendants of the Tartarians? They couldn't have killed them all. But that's just the thing. They didn't kill them all. Some of them managed to escape. And they went past the ice wall. But we'll get into that story on another video. I just want to explain to you about this reset. So, one of the weapons that they was using was able to mimic the weather. A bit like HAARP. And this is where the mud floods come from. They had a weapon that was able to turn solid stone into liquid. They had a weapon that was able to make the ground shift. Landslides, mudslides, mud floods. Buildings would sink and collapse. Land would come and cover your whole continent, your whole city. And that's another thing. People say, well, if there was a worldwide mud flood, how did anyone survive? You have to understand this was strategic. They was able to direct the weapon in certain areas at certain times. So they did it city by city. It wasn't all at the same time. I mean, let's break it all down. So, the people that died, because as I said, not everybody made it out. Not everybody was able to escape across the ice wall. That's another reason why they don't want you going to that ice wall. They don't want you going there. When did they put the Antarctic Treaty? What was it? 1800s? Early 19th century? Just after the last reset. So that is the only way you can get out. They want us trapped where we are now, so we cannot escape. But anyone that didn't escape around the time, they was killed. This is the reason why you've got these catacombs. All those catacombs that you see all around in the world, in Rome, in Paris, and believe me, under every city, there are catacombs, buried pits of skeletons. They're the people from the last reset, killed. Like I said, it's hidden in plain sight. People go to Paris all the time to experience the joy of looking at the deceased people from the reset. And anyone that wanted to speak out of it, so I said not everybody died. Anybody that was still around and wanted to talk about it was put in insane asylums. This is the reason why all through the 1800s, all these so-called insane asylums just start popping up out of nowhere. But that's just the thing. Those buildings are not out of nowhere. Those buildings was already there. Those castles that are now your high schools, that are now your penitentiaries and your insane asylums, those castles belong to the Moors and the Tartarians. It's all scripted. When people say, oh, well, how are they able to lie? Are they lying about everything? They're lying about everything. The history that we follow starts from the 1700s. So we don't even really know what was going on. This is why it's hard to put dates. Like, what's really ancient? Is ancient Rome really ancient Rome? How old are the pyramids? People say, yeah, it was happened in the dynasty of the... You don't know that, bruv. These are the dates that they're giving you. And as long as they're mixing truth with lies, you might as well be just telling a whole lie. So, when this reset happened, like I said, these buildings that was built by the Tartarians and the Moors, they had to be dug out again. Because they was buried. Mud flooded buildings. That's why you see the windows halfway in the ground. And you go to some of these structures and they've got 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 floors buried underground. Nobody builds like that. Come on, brother. Do you really think that somebody in a time of horse and wagon, this is what they're trying to tell us. They're trying to tell us, brother, that these men with horse and wagon was going around to new... I mean, come on. America is the worst story of falseness you could even... They said it's the newest country. America, newest continent. America's not new, brother. Think about it. You're trying to tell me settlers, which are basically refugees, travel from Europe all over the world, come to America, this new land. And in this time of coming to America, this new land, they've got time to kill Indians, put black people into slavery, and build 60-foot, 50-foot buildings and castles with a horse and a wagon, a hammer, and a chisel. I'm sorry if you believe that. But brother, that don't make no sense. These buildings were already here. Think about it realistically. Why would you pressure yourself to travel to a land where there's nothing there? It's just bare, nothing's there. Everybody's sleeping in huts and tents. Nobody knows how to build buildings but the Europeans. But wait a minute. I thought the Moors taught the Europeans. I'm sure it was the Moors that brought Europe out of the Dark Ages. So you trying to tell me the Moors never got to America? Come on, brother. So, this reset, they had to dig out the buildings, renovate the buildings. This is why most of these buildings, they've turned the 3rd floor or the 2nd floor into the 1st floor. Yeah, the original front door and the original door is buried underground. Buried. Telling you, I'm trying to tell you. So it is simple. What you do is you change names, you change dates, and you change location. So this is the same reason why the black people in slavery, they took their names away. If you take people's surnames away, you can't really trace who they are. You won't know if they're really from this tribe or if they're really from Africa. You won't know if they're native or if they're foreign. You change dates. They added 1,000 years to our timeline. 1,000 years of false history and false dates have been added to our timeline from the 17 and 1800s. That's false history right there. False history. I'm going to be dissecting all of this because I'm telling you, when you hear what I have to say, you are going to be shocked. And you can go do your research. You can go look for it yourself. But I'm telling you, you got to get in tune with your spirit. But anyway, so they go into lands that once was occupied by Tartarians and Moors. The Tartarians and Moors, the reason why they was able to escape is because they knew that these guys had this weapon. So some of them was able to flee past the ice wall. But some of them didn't make it. So they got caught in the fire. They got caught and it was like a genocide. It wasn't a war. So, you go into new land, which is really old land. You renovate the buildings, you dig them out, you claim them for yourself. You name them, you date it. This is Locksley House, founded in 1853. This is Jefferson's Building Establishment, founded in 1891. Just do your own research. Look, they've named all of the places and they've dated it and it's always the 1800s. 1800 they built this castle, and it's a castle. It's not a high school, brother. It's not a high school. Yeah, it's a castle. It was belonging to Moors and Tartarians. But this is what a reset is. The technology that the Moors and the Tartarians was using, being able to have free energy. People say, how are you able to get free energy? There's energy in the atmosphere, brother. Natural currents in the atmosphere. Humans, we give off energy. We conduct energy. But they don't want us to know this. They take this knowledge away from you so you're not able to conceive this yourself. They've got you listen. They've got you paying for electricity and gas and all them things there when it comes free. They've got you trapped. They've cornered off the map. So the map that we're looking at, that ain't even the real map, brother. There's more land out there. But they don't want you to know that. So, these reset that I'm talking about, it only happened the other day. Not that long ago. People say, but wouldn't my granddad remember? Nope. Wouldn't your great-granddad? Why would your great-granddad remember? He was a child. What they do is they kill off all the elders. They kill off the elders. They kill off the teachers. And they just leave the children. And you can teach the children anything. And they will believe you. What do you think the orphan trains was about? Come on, brother. You just grabbing orphans out of nowhere. They would either kill the parents or put the parents in an insane asylum and move the kids all over the place. Coney Island, Canada, Australia. And then you can teach them anything. You can tell them anything and they will believe you. And then they all pass down the line line by line, generation after generation. They really thought we wasn't going to figure it out. And they almost got away with it. But oh, we've got your ass. We've got your ass now. There's no escaping. We see what you're doing. They've got the orphan trains. They've got these incubators that was at these world fairs. Where do you think they're really getting this technology from? If you look into ancient texts, they will tell you that they've been being able to create humans and do DNA modification for the longest time. Some of these people that are walking around today are genetically modified humans. Artificial humans and clones. Yeah, I said it. That's what all these incubators and all of these stuff was about. Yeah, I know some people were premature, but how many people are really having premature babies around that time? Everybody? Everybody's premature now. Is that what you're telling me? Well, that's the story they was given for the 1800s. But it's not true. They was creating humans. They was stealing children. And this is all a part of the reset. I know, it's shocking. It is shocking. But the evidence is there. You just need to know what you're looking for. But the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. And what that means is you need to be able to think and have critical thinking. Think for yourself. Don't just go by what they told you in school. Don't just go by what everybody's saying. You need to go by what you think. You need to learn how to meditate and go within. Because you can pick up a book as all day long. But what if the books have got lies in? What if the books are part of the reset? What you can't do then? If you walk around your own city and you look at the buildings that are in the city and ask yourself, how did they really build this with horse and wagon in such a short period of time? It won't make sense. But when you realize that there have already been advanced civilizations before this, yes, people had horse and wagon, but it weren't the horse and wagon people that built those buildings. Those horse and wagons and those hammer and chisel guys, they're part of the reset. They're the reset boys. The civilization before that, they was the advanced civilization. They was the ones that built those buildings. Then it all starts to make sense. And that's what a reset is. It goes back down. Electric scooters, tram lines, all of that. Ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new. So, history has been rewritten. And what you've been told is not the truth. The last reset was only in the 17 to 1800s. All these world fairs, they was put on to show off the last civilization's technology before they took it away and repackaged it and then distributed it to the world again. So I know this is hard for some of you guys to believe, but I'm going to be covering all of these topics in more in depth. But for now, all I've got to say is keep asking questions and stay alert. Until next time, people.